Mine Chef restaurant in Hartford, better than ever. One of my favorite places. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Mondays are family pizza day. Enjoy a huge 18-inch pizza for just $14.99. Easily feeds a family of four. Pizzas like this at other restaurants, $22 or more. And this is new from the Mine Shaft, and it really is amazing. Every Tuesday, the Mine Shaft presents their all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for under $10. It's the best Tuesday dining value anywhere. An all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for just $9.99. Your kids and grandkids, you know they're going to love and safely play in that huge game room, quietly tucked away from the dining area. Wherever you live, it's worth the drive to the Mine Shaft Tuesday for the all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for under $10. Kids under 3 always eat for free. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and just off the interstate in Oshkosh. Reserve your table today for the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet. Just $9.99. MineShaftRestaurant.com.
Time for the Bucks to take these so-called NBA champions down a peg.
He uncorks a three, and he hits it at the horn. Game time at the end of the third quarter.
The Bucks are in Denver with coverage of the game starting tonight at 7:30 on your home of the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good afternoon, 12 o'clock. We have partly sunny skies, 39 degrees, maybe some areas of fog tonight, and overnight or the high today of 42. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. A judge will consider whether to release one of the women charged in the Slender Man case from 2014 at a hearing today.
An attorney for Morgan Geyser has requested her release from Winnebago Mental Health Institute. She and Anissa Wire stabbed Peyton Leitner in Davids Park after a sleepover in 2014, allegedly to please the fictional character Slenderman. Geyser was found not guilty by reason of mental disease and was initially sentenced in 2018 to a maximum of 40 years of state mental health supervision. Meanwhile, Wire was granted her conditional release in 2021. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
2 people taken to the hospital by ambulance Sunday afternoon after a shooting near Garden Homes Park. The 2 people injured have unknown conditions. Authorities are unclear on who was involved in the shooting and how it started. TMJ4 reporting police also responding to a deadly Milwaukee shooting where a 64-year-old man was killed around 7:30 p.m. Sunday near 77th and Winfield Avenue. Authorities believe the shooting was related to a fight that happened before the incident. That incident still under investigation. The U.S. is saying there will be a response after that drone strike in Jordan that killed three U.S. service members and injured dozens others over the weekend. ABC News contributor General Robert Abrams says many options are on the table, but the immediate area will likely be targeted.
We're talking about 600-mile range, the range of that suicide drone that struck on Saturday. That's going to all be in play.
The U.S. says it was an Iranian-backed group that was attacking U.S. forces in retaliation for the U.S. support of Israel after the October 7th terror attacks. House Republicans taking the next steps in the impeachment inquiry against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas this week. They accuse Mayorkas of failing to curb the influx of migrants at the border. But the DHS says their efforts aren't based in fact or evidence. More from ABC's Jay O'Brien.
The top line, the biggest takeaway is that they accuse Mayorkas of ignoring and not following U.S. federal immigration law by not enacting these widespread detentions of migrants at the border and not expelling migrants once they're greeted by Border Patrol at a widespread basis. The Department of Homeland Security says that this is a political stunt. They say it's evidence-free. And they also say that what Republicans are taking issue with is policy, not law.
New York writer E. Jean Carroll says she plans to use the money she was awarded from a jury after former President Trump defamed her on something he hates. That's according to comments she made on ABC's Good Morning America. Carroll says if it'll cause Trump pain for her to give her money to certain things, then that's what she plans to do. Final weekend in July will be a busy one in Milwaukee with the Harley-Davidson Homecoming Festival, the Air and Water Show, and German Fest, all taking place along the lakefront. Harley-Davidson Museum Vice President Bill Davidson tells Wisconsin's Morning News all entities are working together.
The collaboration between the event organizers and planners has been tremendous. We're really excited. Milwaukee's going to be the place to be July 25th through the 28th.
The big weekend takes place after the RNC is held in downtown Milwaukee. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is now down 47 points. The Nasdaq is up 57. The S&P 500 is up 4. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button now. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:04.
988 Wisconsin Lifeline. How can I help you?
Share hope, find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. The 988 Wisconsin Lifeline provides free and confidential support to anyone experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis. Staffed by Family Services, 988 has experienced tremendous growth, and more statewide counselors are needed to answer calls, texts, and chats to the Lifeline. If you want to share hope and find purpose in your next job, apply now. You can work remotely from anywhere in Wisconsin. Training is provided and flexible hours are available. 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselors enjoy competitive compensation and benefits packages. Most importantly, you can share hope and find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. Apply today at 988lifelinecounselor.org. Family Services is an equal opportunity employer.
Paid for by grants from SAMHSA and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Randy Miller.
No, you're not. I'm Randy Miller, owner of All Right Home and Remodeling.
I'm DJ.
Someday you might be the owner of All Right.
Like you and Daddy?
You'll have to learn that our family business is about more than just our family.
Do it right, call All Right.
Yes, but doing things right also means giving back.
When you want it all right, you call All Right. All Right, so many miles away.
Team up with the Brewers for an epic company event this season. With the Brewers Group Outing, you can trade weekday meetings for a fun-filled day at American Family Field, featuring options like tailgate spaces, all-inclusive areas, seating blocks, and much more. Plus, Brewers ticket representatives will make planning your event simple, as they'll be your personal concierge while booking your outing. Start planning your company outing today at brewers.com/groups.
Dominating the Pelicans on Saturday night. The Bucks are back out in the Mile High City tonight to take on the Nuggets. 32-14 Bucks will welcome in Doc Rivers to make his debut as head coach beginning tonight.
We all know what he brings. You know, we heard his voice, him coaching other teams. You know, he's had success, played in this league. He went to school in this city, been around a long time as a coach. You know, he's coached a lot of great players. So I think you would have a hard time thinking of something that he hasn't experienced.
Milwaukee will look to begin their 5-game West Coast road trip tonight with an 8 p.m. tip time in Denver. Super Bowl 58 is all set. The 49ers knocking off the Detroit Lions Sunday 34-31. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes heading back to the Super Bowl after the Chiefs knocked off the Ravens 17-10. It'll be a rematch from 4 years ago. Niners-Chiefs, February 11th from Las Vegas. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. No major problems to report. Pretty typical drive times. 94 inbound from the zoo to Highway 16 to the zoo, about 11 minutes. Downtown to the zoo, running about 5. 41 northbound from the zoo interchange to Highway Q, about a 14-minute drive. And 43 from the Marquette interchange to Brown Deer Road, running about 11 minutes this afternoon. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly cloudy today, maybe an evening shower, and a high today 42. We do have some patchy sunshine right now. A shower or wintry mix tonight with a low of 35. That mix will continue into tomorrow morning. Cloudy skies Tuesday with a high 40. Wednesday and Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 44 both days. And then Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 38. Madison right now 33, Green Bay 32, Milwaukee 39 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:07.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Great to be with you on this Monday show. I am Tracy Johnson, in for a few days this week. Aaron is producing, and I just have to say, what an amazing job that he does behind the scenes, managing everything, managing the calls, the boards, the intros, and he has to keep track of everything I say. So God bless him, because I give him a show outline, and sometimes it's sometimes I stray from the script. But yeah, this is truly, truly a team effort. So we officially have a new coach for the Bucs, Doc Rivers. All right. And while the Packers aren't in the Super Bowl, we know who will be: the Chiefs and the 49ers. It just struck me that their uniforms are very similar. So that will be very interesting, especially for somebody like me, who's more of a baseball and basketball fan, to watch. So we have basketball, we have football, and now baseball. So today we have a rare opportunity to start today's show with a guest. So right out of the gate, we have Mr. Rick Schlesinger. He is the president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. He joins us just about a month away from spring training down in Arizona. Thanks for being here, Rick.
Thanks for having me on, Tracy.
So we have not had a chance to catch up since the Brewers Stadium legislation was signed into law by the governor. That was such a huge accomplishment. Congratulations. So as the listeners may or may not know, this will allow for the Brewers to stay here in Wisconsin through 2050 and allow the team to make a number of upgrades to the park and pay for needed maintenance and winterize the facility. This was a big lift. I want to ask you right out of the gate, what were some of the lessons learned from this effort in a bipartisan environment?
Well, yeah, it was certainly a tremendous accomplishment. A lot of people did a lot of work and deserve a lot of credit. And I think some of the lessons were, you have to be patient. Whenever you're dealing with the legislative process, especially in a divided political environment like we have in Wisconsin, you have to be patient. You have to talk to different constituents. You have to understand the concerns and challenges that different constituents and different political leaders bring to you. You have to try to solve problems. You also have to recognize there's certain things that, cannot be done. So you're never going to have a situation where you're going to get all people in every facet of the politics to sign on board. You're not going to have a perfect piece of legislation. It's a series of compromises, but you have to be flexible. You have to be nimble. You have to be responsive. You have to make the case. So I thought, it took us a long time to do it. And I'm not normally patient, but in this process, you have to be. And I was very pleased with the outcome.
Well, it certainly paid off. I mean, there was a statewide effort, but then also on a local level, there was a lot of great work and heavy lifting by our local leaders as well. So kudos to you on that accomplishment. Can you talk a little bit more about the importance of fans throughout the state and their sense of pride really in their Milwaukee Brewers?
Yeah, I think this doesn't get done if the fans of Wisconsin aren't behind us. And they've been through it with us since this team came to Milwaukee in 1970. So, we've had some lean years and some years when the team hasn't been good, but the fans have always supported us. There was a monumental decision by the fans to build then Miller Park in the late 90s through a lot of political opposition, and the fans supported it. They built a beautiful ballpark, a crown jewel of Major League Baseball. And, we've tried to, honor that commitment to the fans by putting on competitive teams, by employing people, by being good partners in the community, by being a great place to work, and, by bringing fun and excitement and joy to the fans. And I think we've tried to reach out and do that. And I think the fans recognize the importance of baseball in Wisconsin, the importance of maintaining this great facility, and the benefits, economic, psychic, brand, whatever you want to say, and emotional, that Brewers baseball brings to the state. And I think that helped us get over the finish line. And again, it requires the fans, because the fans are going to let their legislators know how they feel about things. And they were loud and clear. And the support we got from the fans helped propel us to get it done.
Yeah, well, this is the Milwaukee Brewers. It really is Wisconsin's baseball team. And you guys did a great job really communicating not just the statewide ownership of this from a fan perspective, but also the statewide economic impact. Rick, president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers, can you speak to that economic impact that some of the upgrades, most notably the winterization, and what we might see as a result of that?
Sure. I mean, there was a study done a few years ago by the local Chamber of Commerce here in Milwaukee that talked about the economic impact of the Brewers in the ballpark. And I think it was $2.5 billion for the first 20 years of the ballpark's existence. And, our goal is to be an economic driver for the state. So whether you're talking about job creation, tax revenues, sales tax from all the activity, all the tickets and brats and beers and parking and retail items that are sold, the jobs, so all the taxes paid by people who have employment, the state income taxes paid by the Brewers players and visiting players, which obviously was a feature and a cornerstone for the legislation. All that goes in the mix, again, to help, drive economic activity for the state and for us to pay for itself, which this ballpark funding does. And obviously, with construction projects going on for the next 27 years, there's certainly going to be more jobs, more job creation. A lot of firms in the state of Wisconsin are going to be involved in building and refurbishing and adding to the ballpark. And that's all great for the economic activity of the state. Winterization is something we're very excited about. That's going to allow us to do events here in the winter. So whether it's concerts or wrestling or basketball or hockey or volleyball or other things such as the Fan Fest, we'll have activity in the winter. Again, sales taxes, jobs, fun, and just making the ballpark a full 12-month, 365-day experience.
Well, and there's so much activity within the park, but also I remember, through the advocacy efforts, talking about the ancillary impact to the businesses downtown and the hotels and all of that. And from a tourism perspective as well, not to mention when you have the TV cameras right on our beautiful American Family Field and scanning the skyline of our beautiful city and our beautiful state. One thing that the listeners may not know about the Milwaukee Brewers is the Brewers Community Foundation. Can you talk a little bit about that for a minute and the role that it played in helping with this stadium package?
Sure. So the Brewers Community Foundation is our charitable arm, and what we have done is raised millions of dollars throughout our existence, and then donated that through nonprofits and through putting back into the community. So since 2010, when Brewers Community Foundation was sort of constituted, we've raised over $55 million, and we annually donate to about 200 to 250 nonprofits throughout the state of Wisconsin, whether it's grants, in-kind donation, tickets, assistance, all that kind of stuff. So, we want to be good partners in the community. We want to recognize that, the Brewers are, Major League Baseball is a social institution, as Commissioner Emeritus Seelig always says. We got to get back. So Brewers Community Foundation, through Cecilia Gore and her leadership, have done a fabulous job of reaching out, of making a difference in the community. There's a lot for nonprofits that need support, and it's a challenge to hit them all. But 250 different organizations a year is a good start.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I know from seeing through the circles and luncheons and events that I go to, I always see Brewers front and center, so that they do great work and deserve additional attention. So you're about a month away from spring training, and we'll be working with a new manager in Pat Murphy. Can you talk a little bit about what that will mean for the team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if people haven't been around, they recognize that, we have a new manager. And the one thing I would say to fans who have questions or concerns, because obviously Craig did a fabulous job here for the years he was manager and led us to, sort of the best times in Brewers baseball in our history. Pat's been with Craig ever since Craig was here as manager. Pat is very comfortable with the players. The players are very comfortable with Pat. He knows our organization. We're more than just one person or one manager or one GM. It's really a collective of hundreds of people in the baseball operations side, from the scouts, the medical, the analytics, the GM, the assistant GMs. All the people help put the team together and put us in a position to win. So I'm very comfortable and confident that Pat is going to continue the winning ways, and he'll have different ways of doing things for sure. He's got a different perspective and different personality than Craig, but there's so many different ways to engage with players and make decisions, and it takes some health, it takes some luck, and it takes organization and recognition of the players and what they can do and their limitations, and just get the best out of them. And I'm really comfortable that Pat's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I think you guys handled this just beautifully. I know I happened to be behind this microphone the day that the announcement was made with Craig Counsell departing and then going to the Cubs. So, I think just through it all, I think the fans were very emotional, but the way that the Brewers organization handled that, I think was very in line with who the Milwaukee Brewers are. You're very steady, constant, authentic, and I just applaud you for handling of that. We're on with Rick Schlesinger, the president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. Rick, last week we saw the Brewers signed Rhys Hoskins. Can you talk about the significance of that signing? Because that was big news, but I feel like it was the same day that Doc Rivers was announced for the Bucks.
Yeah, I think it was also the same day that the Packers announced they were moving on from their defensive coordinator. So a lot of sports news.
Yes.
It's okay. We have no problem sharing the news cycle with the other great teams in the state. So, whenever you're talking about the Bucks and Packers, you're talking about, really high-class professional winning organizations. So that's okay that sometimes they get the limelight. But, yeah, Hoskins brings a very needed offensive power to our first base. We have had struggles since Prince Fielder left and really finding a solution to first base. We've had some good years from some good players, but, Hoskins is a real power hitter. He has hit tremendously well at American Family Field, and if nothing else, the fact that we won't have to face him is benefit enough. But I'm excited what he brings to the plate in terms of his offensive power. He's got a lot of experience. He has had tremendous success. And, again, he brings necessarily offensive power to us when we had some challenges last year with power in particular. And, we don't want to be just a pitching-centric team. It takes, hitting and pitching and defense to win games. And, again, he filled a much big void in the first base slot. So we're excited to have him on the team.
Yeah, I think the fans are really excited, too, especially as we get closer to opening day. Speaking of which, my last question. So opening day is, April 2nd, just a few months away, rain or shine. We didn't used to be able to say that. Any final comments for the listeners today, Rick?
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting division this year. We've got all the divisional teams. The Cardinals had a bad year, but they're improved. The Cubs are always dangerous. The Reds are improved. The Pirates have improved. We won the division last year, so, we're sort of the targets on our back, but I'm very excited about the team we're bringing back. And, from my perspective, we should be in this race to the end. And the goal is to get to the postseason, have some magic, and then get to win the World Series. So that's our goal. And we've fallen short the past few times, but people are motivated and excited about the team.
Wow. And so am I. Rick Schlesinger, President of Business Operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Tracy.
Go Brewers. All right, it's 12:20. We'll be back with more on WTMJ.
Oh, I'm already running late. Let's go.
There is a backup on I-94 eastbound.
Wait, is that Debbie Lazaga?
Expect delays.
Well, how bad is it?
Alternate routes will help you in your journey.
I feel better. Get where you need to go calmly with traffic reporter Debbie Lazaga, only on News Radio WTMJ.
Follow me on social.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
New windows? Where do I begin? It seems everyone is staking claim that their window is the best. Let's talk about 4 characteristics of windows that are important: energy efficiency, aesthetics, operation, and installation. If their window is the best, these qualities should stand out. Living in Wisconsin, energy efficiency is important for your comfort and your wallet. While many companies want to focus on glass ratings, we can't forget that air infiltration is just as important. You can have the best glass in the world. It is useless if wind is whistling around it and you're losing money out the window. The best window should look amazing. When comparing and contrasting, so often the less attractive windows have wider, bulky frames and hardware that looks like an afterthought. If you are seeking the best, then narrow, sleek frames that look beautiful as well as maximize the glass space will give you a gorgeous window that allows more natural light into your home. How easy do your windows operate? Are they tough to clean or even impossible to open? How they operate is very important for the best windows. The best windows are easy to clean and easy to open. True professional installation will assure your windows perform and operate fantastic. The best product in the world will not perform if it is installed wrong. Siding Unlimited's showroom is open so you can see, touch, feel, investigate your window choice. We offer the best windows and can prove it. Stop on by. Siding Unlimited is an easy place to begin.
Our local and family-owned Siding Unlimited is Pella Windows Platinum Elite Certified Contractor of the Year in the whole USA. And for 3 years running. Get the best windows installed by the best installer. Go first to sidingunlimited.com.
Great to be with you on this Monday afternoon. It's really cool to start the show with a great guest like Rick Schlesinger, President of Business Operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. I know I have some friends who are really chomping at the bit to get down to Arizona. Spring training is like a whole big thing for them. I know my grandma used to go down there and check out the team. I went one time, and it was really a really cool experience to be down there. So we have lots of great things to look forward to. I know that the Brewers Stadium upgrades have already begun. I believe the scoreboard was a big project they were undertaking, much needed maintenance. And then, of course, the winterization so that we can continue to have year-round events in that wonderful stadium. You know, it strikes me, Wisconsin is just a great place for entertainment and so many concerts and activities. And, you know, the venues, I think, just really, really speak to that and do such a great job. We've got so many great, diverse venues. So if you like a small environment, you've got the Riverside, the Pabst, all of that. If you love the big concerts, you got the Fiserv Forum. You're going to have the stadium, the American Family Field, and we'll be able to experience that a little more throughout the year. I didn't want to get too far in the show without acknowledging something that I think was overlooked, an anniversary that was overlooked because it was on a weekend. And, it was the Challenger disaster. This Sunday, so January 28th, marked the 38th anniversary of that disaster. And, usually because when it's during the week, we talk about it more, just because it was such a moment in the lives of so many people. But just really wanted to reflect on that Sunday, like I said, the 38th anniversary of the Space Shuttle Challenger tragedy. The shuttle exploded 73 seconds after takeoff in 1986. New Hampshire teacher Krista McAuliffe was one of the 7 crew members who was killed in the disaster. If you recall, she was the first civilian teacher ever chosen for a space mission, and she was really enthusiastic about it and wanted to share her experiences with students and be able to kind of share that, not just with the people in her classroom, but throughout the country, and being the first civilian teacher. So lessons McAuliffe intended to teach from space were finally taught in 2018. There were a number of individuals who performed some experiments from the International Space Station. Then in 2019, then President Donald Trump signed into law a bill that created a commemorative $1 coin to honor McAuliffe. Then in March 2021, distribution of the coin began, and First Lady Jill Biden helped mark the occasion during a visit to the Concord School named after this beloved teacher. So I thought that was a kind of a beautiful reminder of how her legacy has lived on. And you've got former President Trump, commemorating this coin, and then First Lady Jill Biden really trying to spread that news and that information to students who might not have that in their memory. I was talking to my kids about this the other day, sharing with them what happened, and I was really impressed. They were aware of the Challenger disaster, and they were aware that a teacher what did go up in space, and that she was very passionate about bringing what she learned to the classroom. And I found this other statistic interesting, or this little fact interesting, that in December of 2023, New Hampshire officials commissioned an artist to design a memorial for her. So you can check that out. Also, I didn't know this, that a piece of the Challenger was found off the coast of Florida. That was just a year ago. So a big event, a very traumatic event for many people. I don't remember much about being in 3rd grade, but I do remember being in the library, assembled as a school, just watching this on, a bunch of TVs on carts, right? We used to have those TVs on the cart racks, and we were all excited and just watching a teacher, and there were teachers in the room watching, and just watching this go up, and just a minute after takeoff, kind of the dividing off of the branches forming a Y in the sky. And, I still get a little bit emotional thinking about it, because it was just such a memorable moment in my lifetime. And just to think about what was sacrificed, by this individual who continues to live on today. So in case you didn't have a chance to talk to your kids about it, didn't have a chance to recollect and reflect, on that moment, it marks the 38th anniversary of the Challenger disaster. All right, when we come back, there are some surprising statistics out of Wisconsin about vaping and our kids. And there are a number of ways that schools specifically are trying to get around this. I want to share this with you because I think there's some alarming information, but on a positive note, potentially some solutions. It's 12:28 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson.
Your weekly Bucks breakdown is back.
They want to win equally as bad as I do.
Bucks Weekly on WTMJ.
Now he joins a team where you have, as he has put it, the best player in the league.
And a new year brings new faces.
You'll see that I've gotten better year after year after year after year.
Get the latest news, analysis, and insight on your Milwaukee Bucks all season long. Bucks Weekly with Justin Garcia every Monday night at 8 on WTMJ. And catch the podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm and dry, Semper Fi.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
You can give them the same old, or you can surprise them with something unique from St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Store at a bargain. Almost new, but really cool. The thing about thrift store gift shopping is that you never know what you'll find, but when you find it, you'll know it's right. That's what makes it fun. And if you just can't choose, gift cards are always available at St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Okay, you're going to have to wait one more segment for the vaping story because we have to get a short. We need to get a short drop in here. So I wanted to bring this up because this was like shocking. And when I was talking to Aaron about this, he didn't hear about this. But over the weekend, we heard of a Sussex family that was mourning after they say their babysitter killed their dog while watching their kids. Okay, so this babysitter, she was 18 years old, or this person was 18 years old. We don't know the identity of this person, but they are going to be charged today. So I will be following this because anytime somebody hurts a dog, I am paying attention to that because I have 2 little dogs and I would hate if anything happened to them. But the family left their dog. It was their Chihuahua named Batman. And they left the dog with their child and the babysitter. Well, when the babysitter left, the family asked, okay, well, where's the dog? And the babysitter was like, oh, I don't know. So she left, and the father was like, oh, I haven't seen the dog. And the next day, they found the dog under a pile of clothes, and this dog was stabbed. Oh my God. And it had like a plastic bag over its head. And the babysitter did this. So they tried to call the babysitter. They couldn't reach her. They went to go pick her up, and now she's going to be charged. And, this is just so disturbing. I hope that whatever happens in this case, that they treat this with the severity that it deserves, because people who hurt animals, they end up hurting people in the long run. And I don't think that we are hard enough on the people who hurt other people, but we sure need to be hard on people who hurt animals just as much as the ones that hurt people. But I just can't believe this story. And I just couldn't imagine what happened here and what the justification might be. I just, pray for this family and pray for the girl who did this, because there was definitely something severely, severely wrong here. So this is supposed to happen today. We're supposed to hear more details about this today. So we'll continue to follow it and see what the story is. But certainly a tragic incident out of Waukesha County. So, okay, when we come back, now we will talk about vaping here in Wisconsin. This is especially alarming for parents and grandparents who may not be paying attention to what their kids are doing at school or what their kids are doing with their friends, because this data just blew my mind, especially those with young kids in the Generation Z, which is the 12 to 27 years old. You're not going to want to miss this, and I'm going to want you to weigh in. So get this number in your phone, 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. All right, we'll get into that when we return, but right now it's 12:34 on WTMJ.
It's the last resort that comes with a grueling and painful recovery. And from what I've been told, it never really feels quite natural. A total knee replacement may make the pain you're living with eventually go away, but it opens up a Pandora's box of other possible issues. And that's why surgeons who really do care will tell you that it's a last resort. There are other surgeons who cry, "Replace! Replace!" But the physicians you'll find at Rejuvenex are primarily concerned with relief. And you may find out that the relief we give you helps so much so that you may not need to get that total knee replacement. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics. Our FDA-approved pain treatments aid inflammation and lubricate your joints. And in most cases, insurance has been shown to cover the costs. At Rejuvenex, we can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.
Going without oil changes can destroy your engine, but it doesn't compare to the effect of going without food. That's why the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee is determined to make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Through the end of February, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 13 years, Adam has donated over $820,000, providing more than 2.4 million meals to people across southeastern Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. And with today's ongoing challenges, the need is greater than ever. So help the hungry while helping your vehicle. Get your oil changed by Adam Dealer Factory Train Techs at a price as low or lower than independent shops. Visit an Adam member dealer near you.
For a list of participating dealers, visit adamm.com.
Welcome back on WTMJ. So the other night, we were with some friends and we were talking about our kids in school. My kids are in elementary and middle school, and the family I was with had kids in high school. And we were just talking about, oh my gosh, you know what these kids are into, and oh, my kid's driving and all this. And they brought up this topic of vaping. And they said that the vaping was out of control. And in the schools, in the bathrooms, outside, in the cars, everywhere. And I was like, what? Isn't that illegal? It is illegal. You have to be like 21. Apparently, this is happening in both middle schools and high schools. And I think this is of real concern. And the reason I'm paying attention to this is because my kids are kind of getting to this age. And I understand that peer pressure is a thing. And last week, we saw some numbers. A study from Forbes Advisor found that Wisconsin ranks among the bottom dozen of U.S. states when it comes to adult vaping or e-cigarette. I'm going to use these words interchangeably. but ranks slightly higher when it comes to among Generation Z young adults. And as I mentioned before, that Generation Z is the 12 to 27-year-olds. It's a huge generation, and it's the generation that we're kind of watching. We're trying to see what they do. There's a lot of questions around what their values are, what their motivations are, what's shaped them. As they become adults. We talked about the Challenger explosion. It was certainly something that shaped me. But what is shaping these young adults? It's likely, COVID-19 is probably the biggest thing that is shaping them. So just to back up a second, for those who don't know what an e-cigarette is, though, so this is it simulates smoking. So it's got an atomizer. It's got a power source, usually in the form of a battery, and then a cartridge for the flavor or for the nicotine. So Wisconsin, while it ranked 40th among 50 states, with 3.3% of Wisconsin adults saying they vape every day compared to the national average of 3.8%, additionally, 3.5% of Wisconsin adults said they vape some days compared to 4% nationally. The study also found that vaping is by far most popular among Gen Z adults, those 18 to 24. Many members of Gen Z were in high school when Juul was at the height of its popularity. The Forbes study found that 11% of Gen Zers use cigarettes nationally. So Wisconsin ranked 33rd for e-cigarette among Gen Z adults with 10.9%. So, this is a real issue. And if you recall back a few years ago, the company Juul came out with these flavors for e-cigarettes, and they were marketed widely and were taken to court and sued for hundreds of millions of dollars to help then reverse all the damage that they did in terms of getting these kids addicted to vaping and to nicotine. And this continues to persist, and what we see is that young vapors are really pervasive. Well, I'm not sure that we have ways to combat this in Wisconsin, but a number of districts are trying to get ahead of this. What they're doing is they're installing surveillance devices, and they're using COVID money to do this because this is such a big problem. So districts have set up sensors and surveillance cameras to detect vaping, often without informing students. So this is kind of where the question comes in about how ethical this is. Thousands of high school students across the country have been caught vaping by surveillance equipment, according to the AP. Repercussions have included suspensions, expulsions, criminal charges, and fines. Some schools have even revoked or threatened to revoke academic honors and leadership positions. So in this study, they say around 2.8 million middle and high school students use tobacco products, according in 2023, amounting to about 10% of students overall. E-cigarettes were used by 2.1 million students. Almost 9 out of 10 used flavored vapes, although they are saying that tobacco use has declined. So this sensor technology, I was unfamiliar with this. What it does is it checks the air quality, and it's placed inside these bathrooms. When the sensors detect vaping, they activate surveillance cameras outside the bathroom in one district, according to AP. Another company's technology detects an increase in noise in school bathrooms and sends a text alert to school officials, and it doesn't record the audio. A pilot program in Ohio announced earlier this year that it will provide funding to install vape detectors in high school bathrooms and or locker rooms. And again, there's federal funding. This COVID funding can be used in order to do this, because what they're saying is, this is going to monitor air quality, and there's a sensor that will detect if there's a change or if there's vape detected. So I read on and read that there's some real concerns by students who say that their privacy is being violated, especially when it comes to the ramifications. Their academic scholarships are being pulled. They're subject to fines. They're getting expelled. This is going on the record. So are these cameras warranted, or are they going too far? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Do we need to be monitoring and managing these students when it comes to vape usage? It's illegal, right? You have to be 21. And actually, this was news to me that the age to purchase tobacco, according to federal law, was changed just a few years ago to the age of 21 from 18. Wisconsin has not changed its law, but the federal law does prevail. So are these sensors a breach of privacy? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Your reaction, my response when we return.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
There is, in principle, no empty spaces. Something is going to fill you. It could be bitterness, resentment, detachment, despair, or something else. Nature hates a vacuum. But God died for the love of sinners and lives to fill all creation.
The physics of forgiveness this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We needed to sell Mom's home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
No showings, no closing costs, no staging, no real estate agent fees, no added stress.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit grandviewhomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Outdoor living is a cherished experience here, especially in the warm season. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local family-owned company that will revolutionize outdoor living at your home. Visualize your home and yard with an in-ground pool, screen room, pergola, patio, pavers, deck, even an outdoor kitchen. Get with Outdoor Living Unlimited and put that dream into action. The honest, reliable artists and craftsmen will be honored to work with you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Welcome back on WTMJ. So kids and vaping, especially young kids. My middle schooler told me about some friends at another school who were caught vaping in the bathroom. These are 13-year-olds. All right. This just blew my mind. And, I talk to my kids about the dangers of vaping and becoming addicted. I mean, kids are much more susceptible to that addiction at a young age because of the way that their brains are forming. And, to be able to talk to your kids, I fully support any investment that a school would make using COVID funds or using other funds to install air sensors so that they can punish these kids for doing something that the parents should be punishing the kids for anyway. And again, I sometimes get accused of being a pearl clutcher, but, come on, parents. Pay attention to what your kids are doing. Ask the questions. Look in their backpack. They're 10% of kids in high school are vaping. And there's a reason that we see an increased usage as adults. We worked so hard to get rid of smoking. And I believe that a lot of these products like vape and Juul were a Trojan horse for this generation. And Juul is paying the price in the form of these lawsuits. But it appears that even though nationally these numbers are declining, they're still able to keep it moving. They're still turning a profit, and people are still using this. It's hard to talk about this because a lot of people turned to vape and e-cigarettes as a way to stop them from smoking cigarettes. And isn't it crazy that the cure is sometimes worse than the disease, because you're thinking about that this is an acceptable solution, and the whole time these manufacturers, I argue, are just pushing us further and further into decline. So there's a number of concerns though around the privacy. I'm just going to go to the text line here. From the 262, if they weren't vaping, they wouldn't have to worry about it. I totally agree. Where are the parents in this? And I know parents are busy and all of that, but you really need to be talking to your kids, because once you start to have marijuana or other drugs that these could be laced with, I mean, this could be a real problem. From the 414, kids vaping is out of control. Health problems will follow and be costly. This is a big problem, and there's big money behind it. Sometimes you look at some of these ads and some of these public service announcements, stop smoking, this is sponsored by Juul or sponsored by tobacco. Yeah, they're really not doing anything. This really isn't moving the needle on any of this. 920, this is a good point. Invasion of privacy, no. A smoke detector in the bathroom that could detect cigarette smoke, is that invasion of privacy as well? No, it's not. So, I think this is a good move by schools to be able to monitor the situation. And I think that kids should be punished harshly. If it means that you lose your academic scholarship, well, then so be it. We're too soft on kids these days. There are never any ramifications for their bad behavior. And when there's one kid with this bad behavior, they're going to proliferate. From the 414, we all have consequences for our actions. Yes, these kids are going to be sick, right? I mean, and they're going to become addicted. But we should try to help them overcome this. And so when it comes to this surveillance technology, I do hope that there are plans in the works for schools in Wisconsin to create these kind of parameters. Because in where I live, I was shocked to hear this. And I was dismayed. And, I hope that these kids are punished, and I hope that they learn their lesson. From the 262, this feels as if the school district were lobbied to install these devices using COVID funding. I highly doubt the school district thought of this on their own. Hey, I don't disagree. I don't agree with students being monitored with devices. However, smoking on school property has always been against the law. So if they install them, they need to inform the student body that they are installed. The goal here is to reduce students vaping on school grounds. This will go a long way in preventing this type of behavior. Use it as a deterrent. I think that's a good point. But a lot of these schools are not informing the students. And so I wonder if this would ever be grounds for a lawsuit, invasion of privacy. I don't know. I'd have to get a lawyer in here to piece through that one. It's like if you're doing something illegal and then somebody's using an illegal method to catch you, is that like, do they cancel each other out? I don't know. From the 920, they need to get after the vape stores that sell it. They sell anyone. They don't check IDs. They just want to profit. That's a really good point. And the city of Milwaukee has actually pulled back on issuing permits and licenses to stores that sell vaping devices because, there's a conflict in kind of the law here, because Wisconsin hasn't changed its law to match the 21-year-old national law. So even though the federal law prevails, you've still got a lot of confusion in Wisconsin, and there aren't any ramifications for those who sell to the underage. So, and I'm sure some of this can be bought online, but it definitely is concerning. And if anything, sorry to be a public service announcement, but check your kid's backpack. I mean, look for these devices, because if they're using them, they're going nowhere but down. It's 12:53 on WTMJ.
Headed out west to Rocky Mountain Way.
Beasley, this would be the triple-double, and Dame knocks it down. Consecutive games with a triple-double.
The Bucks travel a mile high for a matchup against the Nuggets in Denver. Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 7:30.
Bounce pass to Giannis. He takes it in and takes no mercy on the rim. His freight train number 34 goes barely down.
We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Siding Unlimited named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
It's called entrapment. That is what Aaron has advised me. See, I told you this was a team effort. So if you use an illegal means to catch an illegal act, it is entrapment. Okay, all right, we've got that settled. So this isn't really an invasion of privacy, but the schools really should be telling the kids, hey, we've got you on camera. We've got these sensors in the bathrooms, and if you are vaping or smoking, we're going to catch you, and this is for your own good. A couple more texts to wrap this up. 262, are there consequences for the underage buyers or just sellers to the underage buyers? I believe it's to the sellers of the underage buyers, but I am not 100% certain. I wanted to just touch on, too, that in June, the Common Council of Milwaukee adopted an ordinance creating new zoning rules for businesses that sell vaping. The new rules prevent tobacco and e-cigarette retailers from being within 1,000 feet of an elementary or secondary school, library, daycare center, park, or playground, and within 500 feet of another tobacco or e-cigarette retailer, or a premise that holds a cigarette and a tobacco license. If you go up and down, I think Brady Street is a really good example. And I've spoken to the alderman over there, Jonathan Brostoff, who's actually doing a good job in that regard, trying to clean that area up, trying to restrict the number of licenses that are given for vape stores and for liquor and things like that. Just really trying to clean that up, because if you notice one e-cigarette store, there's another e-cigarette store and then a vape lounge. And, it just kind of becomes this like, what is that really, that economic activity there? One final question, and I want to respond from the 262. If the federal law prevails over state laws for vaping, then why don't states follow the federal laws for recreational marijuana? Well, there are no federal laws for recreational marijuana, so it is left to the states. Aaron looked that one up, too, while we were on break. So, all right, when we come back, CJ Safer is going to join us. He's from the Institute of Reforming Government. We're going to talk about policy. We had the State of the State address last week. There's been some movement on a number of bills pertaining to mental health, education, healthcare, all of that. So it should be an information-packed half hour. We will get to that when we return. But the news is next. It's 12:58 on WTMJ.
The NBA app is everyone's app. Every fan of every team.
Oh, my goodness.
Everyone who follows LeBron, Tatum, and Embiid in the app. Every warrior who's ready to go to battle over three-point percentages. Every streetwear king who's here for the tunnel fits. Every young buck, nugget, and grizzly who wants to take a peek behind the scenes of the league. And everyone else on this floating basketball we call Earth. Download the NBA app today. Available in the Google Play, Apple app, and Android stores.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
The Doc is in.
I'm not a real doctor. I'm just Doc Rivers.
Congratulations to Doc Rivers, officially the newest head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
If you want to be champions, you know you're going to get hit, all right?
Keep it tuned here for all things Milwaukee basketball. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Good afternoon. 1 o'clock. We have mostly sunny skies, 43 degrees. A shower possible this evening, maybe a mix of rain and snow. Overnight low tonight, 35. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. The U.S. is saying there will be a response after that drone strike in Jordan that killed 3 U.S. service members and injured dozens more over the weekend. ABC News contributor General Robert Abrams says allies in the region could also help the U.S.
Much like we had at the beginning of the counter-ISIS campaign in 2014 through the height of it in 2016-17. So that would come in the form of principally aerial support, maybe some additional special forces support, and some naval support.
The U.S. says it was an Iranian-backed group that was attacking U.S. forces in retaliation for the U.S. support of Israel after the October 7th terror attacks. 3 Delavan residents and a suspect hurt after a home invasion Sunday morning. TMJ4 reporting the invasion was at a home on Burr Oak Court. Delavan City Police and authorities found the 3 residents injured but say they will survive. The suspect was injured, arrested, then taken to the hospital to be treated. Authorities believe the suspect acted alone. And in a press release on Sunday, police said, "We applaud this family whose quick and decisive actions averted potential tragedy. The case still under investigation." Fire at a West Dallas apartment leaves a teenager with severe burns. A 17-year-old boy reportedly fell asleep with a candle burning in the apartment, 71st and Orchard. The teen woke up when the back of his shirt caught fire. He suffered second-degree burns to half of his back and his thumb. Officials say it doesn't appear there were working smoke detectors in the house at the time of the fire. A judge will consider whether to release one of the women charged in the Slender Man case from 2014 at a hearing today.
An attorney for Morgan Geyser has requested her release from Winnebago Mental Health Institute. She and Anissa Wire stabbed Peyton Leitner in Davids Park after a sleepover in 2014, allegedly to please the fictional character Slenderman. Geyser was found not guilty by reason of mental disease and was initially sentenced in 2018 to a maximum of 40 years of state mental health supervision. Meanwhile, Wire was granted her conditional release in 2021. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Milwaukee County supervisors demanding answers from the Milwaukee County Zoo as to why a proposed penguin exhibit will cost around $1.5 million more than the initial proposal. The Committee on Parks and Culture meeting rejected the zoo's request for additional funding last week, expressing frustration at a measurement error for part of the exhibit. Supervisor Stephen Shea was the lone vote in support, but even he had this to say to zoo leadership.
Please don't come back to us for more money anytime soon like this.
Ultimately, the county's finance committee granted the request, which will go to the full board for final approval. The ex-government contractor who leaked copies of Donald Trump's tax returns to news outlets has been sentenced. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Former IRS consultant Charles Littlejohn admitted in court that he accessed and released the tax returns of more than 1,000 wealthy Americans, including former President Trump. But in a deal with federal prosecutors, he pleaded guilty to just a single count of illegally disclosing tax information. Judge Ana Reyes, a Biden appointee, told Littlejohn that he engaged in an attack on democracy, and she imposed the maximum sentence for the single count, 5 years in prison and a $5,000 fine.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 8 points. The Nasdaq is up 65. The S&P 500 is up 7. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 104.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, Dr. Michael Nolte. Expertscape recently named him part of the top 1% of spine expertise in the world. Dr. Nolte has published over 50 peer-reviewed articles in leading scientific journals and authored more than 100 national presentations. They added this MVP specialist for orthopedic, neurosurgical, and spine care because at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
Looking for some winter magic?
Head to Lake Geneva for the 29th Annual Winterfest and U.S. National Snow Sculpting Championship. Watch and wonder as 15 of the best snow sculpting teams in the country create larger-than-life masterpieces
right before your very eyes.
Enjoy bonfires and s'mores on the beach and live entertainment. Explore the downtown ice sculpture walk, featuring over 40 beautiful ice sculptures. Don't miss Lake Geneva's Winterfest, January 31st through February 4th. Learn more at visitlakegeneva.com.
After dominating the Pelicans on Saturday night, the Bucks are back out in the Mile High City tonight to take on the Nuggets. 32-14 Bucks will welcome in Doc Rivers to make his debut as head coach beginning tonight.
We all know what he brings. You know, we heard his voice, him coaching other teams. You know, he's had success, played in this league. He went to school in this city, been around a long time as a coach. You know, he's coached a lot of great players. So I think you would have a hard time thinking of something that he hasn't experienced.
Milwaukee will look to begin their 5-game West Coast road trip tonight with an 8 p.m. tip time in Denver. Super Bowl 58 is all set. The 49ers knocking off the Detroit Lions Sunday 34-31. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes heading back to the Super Bowl after the Chiefs knocked off the Ravens 17-10. It'll be a rematch from 4 years ago. Niners-Chiefs, February 11th from Las Vegas. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No major delays to report this hour. 94 from downtown to the zoo, a typical 5-minute drive. 41 northbound from the zoo interchange to Highway Q, running about 14. And 94 from the Marquette interchange to Layton Avenue, about a 7-minute commute this afternoon. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A chance for a wintry mix tonight or a shower with an overnight low of 35. Drizzle tomorrow, maybe a wintry mix early tomorrow. Cloudy with a high of 40. Wednesday and Thursday, partly cloudy skies both days with a high of 44. And Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 38. Right now, Madison's at 33. Green Bay at 32. Milwaukee, 43 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 108.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Welcome back, everyone. We were having too much fun over that break. CJ Safer in the studio. He is the president and CEO for the Institute for Reforming Government. He has been on the show this is the fourth week, and you are without your daughter, Nadia. What is she, in school or
Happy
something?
Monday. Yes, my daughter. Thank you so much. It was very nice, the treat to bring her the last 2 Mondays. Today she has to go to school. What the heck?
Man.
I know.
Well, she was a rock star. She's a rock star. She's got a bright future in broadcast if she wants it.
In sports, busy, soccer, basketball, it's a blessing.
It is. It's so fun. We were talking over the break about, what'd you do this weekend? It was like basketball games. Yeah, me too. Basketball games. And we had 6 games, and I believe there was one victory, 1 W.
Right. So we had 4 in between soccer and basketball, and we were 0 for 4. So it's fine. You have to learn how to lose before you can win.
No, absolutely. And it's funny at that age. So we're Nadia's 8, right? And my son is 10. And they're just so resilient. They're just out there to have fun. And it's such a joy. It makes me think like, God, I love life. Like, it's just such a great time to be alive. Some people look at it as a burden to be busy, but I just love it. It's so much fun.
I have no idea what I did before kids. What did you do with all of that free time? But no, it is a real blessing, and I'm sure some of your listeners would agree that it goes by very fast.
Oh, I know. Every time I talk about it, they just enjoy it. I'm like, I am in the process. Thank you very much. All right. So getting down to business, we teased this last week. Tuesday was the State of the State, where Governor Evers talked about the past president and really focused on the future. He made the statement that 2024 would be the year of the worker. And one of the comments I made on the show was that I felt like Year of the Worker meant something very different to Governor Evers than it did maybe to the Republicans in the legislature. What did you make from Year of the Workers, according to Governor Evers?
Well, right. So 2023 was the year of mental health, which we'll discuss. This year, he dubbed 2024 the year of the worker. And look, anything with 2024 is going to be overtly political. It's an election year. It's just obvious. Let's get that off the plate. I think it's a recognition, in my opinion, of some of the things that we've been seeing at IRG. We've been doing focus groups and polling. We've been having a number of conversations, of listening sessions all across the state. Middle-class voters are hurting a number of ways. They're hurting in their pocketbook. They're hurting with schools. They're hurting with frustrations with regulations. I think Governor Evers is dubbing it the year of the worker is at least a recognition that this is a very important group of voters, very important group of people in the state that are likely going to decide 2024. But also they're a group that has a lot of real frustrations with the direction of the state. Governor Evers he focused hard on, I believe, when he says year of the worker, he's saying childcare, paid medical leave, education funding for not just K-12, but also technical college. Something tells me that's not quite exactly what the Republican leadership is thinking on.
So where do we make the compromise? Because when I heard Year of the Worker, I thought, wow, okay, we got this right. And then to look at what the proposed solutions were, they seem to be kind of expenses on areas that are important, but there was no acknowledgement of any sort of tax reform or using the surplus to give back to the people who paid into it.
Well, right. Absolutely. And I think that's just two different philosophies of looking at of how to, run the state. We have a massive surplus. Where should it go? Again, the governor prefers it to go to childcare, paid medical leave, and education funding. Paid medical leave is going to be a massive mandate on businesses. essentially job creators, those that are hiring people in the middle class, those are paying wages for the middle class. So there's a very delicate balance there that, we would implore the governor to recognize. But I mean, I think the real compromise is going to come in the $4 to $6 billion surplus that the state has. The state's sitting on taxpayer money. It's got to give it back. There's been a lot of effort and initiative by Republicans to put together really big tax reform plans. IRG, our team has been working on a bill that would exempt overtime work from income taxes. I think that's something that benefits workers. So when I think of Year of the Worker, it's trying to alleviate the tax burden, alleviate regulatory burdens on workers. I think there's real compromise there. But, as we discussed last Monday, there's only about another month to make it happen before the legislature closes shop and hits the campaign trail.
Well, and I read today, and this was out of Urban Milwaukee, that Evers was really silent on the new GOP tax plan that would give money to give a tax return to, or tax relief, I should say, to retirees. There was mention of the overtime bill. Do you think that there's an opportunity for some movement here? I mean, he did say, hey, if anybody's got a plan, I'm here to listen. And I think what the GOP put out there was a plan, right? We can have both.
Last summer, the Republican legislature sent Governor Evers the largest income tax cut in Wisconsin's history. Would have touched every single income bracket. It was vetoed by the governor, essentially him saying he really only wanted to focus on middle-class workers. So now the Republicans came back. They have a $2 billion savings plan that would focus primarily on that second bracket. So basically those making less than six figures around that income bracket, they get a tax cut. It would expand the child tax credit, and it would exempt retirement income from income taxes. So essentially helping retirees. And look, I think it's a very sensible plan. The governor has been silent. I think it would behoove the governor to not sign it. It would behoove him to sign it, or to at least give it strong.
Well, this is the third time that the Republicans have put forth a plan. This is the third time, and they've listened to, okay, if you say we're taxing or we're giving money back to the wealthy, this solves for it. This is middle income. We're talking about the bracket from $38,000 to $150,000 for married couples. So, this is not your super wealthy. These people aren't even the small business owners, which that would be a great thing to try to give some money back to them, since they're paying a huge bulk of the taxes as well.
Without question. This is just basic common sense. Give the taxpayers back the money that they put into the system. And again, when people have more money, more savings, they get they can spend it however they want to. They can pay down credit card debt. They can use it to shop at their local businesses, putting money back into the community. Also, it can be using as a protection, because although inflation is coming down in some areas, it's still up. Just basic things, food, gasoline, groceries. It's all just a little more expensive than what it was several years ago. And I think, tax cuts and putting more money back into the families, especially in the middle class, that's going to strengthen Wisconsin. And I think that's going to be it's going to be strong politics and strong public policy.
The great thing about this is that this is not just a one-time, we're given a bunch of money. This isn't COVID money here, right? This is a tax cut. This is something that families and individuals can rely on year over year. And so I think there is some trepidation. Some people are feeling kind of burned because, they got this money. They now spent all this money from COVID and, from the influx of cash. And that's what led to many of our problems. But this is something that taxpayers can rely on. How do you square what the Republicans are trying to propose and what the Democrats and Governor Evers want with the child care compromise? Is there opportunity there? Because we're seeing the Republicans really push back and say, you know what, we don't want to invest in that to the extent that you do.
Well, childcare is a really tricky issue. It's something where you've seen clear philosophical divides in the legislature. Essentially, Democrats have really pushed spending state money on subsidizing workers, subsidizing childcare facilities. You've seen Republicans really push for deregulation on the childcare industry, saying there's so many regulations from the state on employer and child ratio, neither of which has really been getting traction in divided government. Maybe that's how the system's supposed to work. But look, you look across the state, and we've done polling. Over 75% of Wisconsin voters say childcare is somewhat or a major issue to the state of Wisconsin, to their families. Right now, I don't see a whole lot getting done, especially in this limited time. My colleagues at IRG, we've put together, working with some business leaders, looking at how can we get more businesses, because right now what we're seeing is, well, someone's gonna have to take the initiative and increase childcare across the state, because right now there's a lot of communities that don't really have access to affordable childcare solutions. And we've been able to work with businesses to say, well, how do we get more businesses to actually take the initiative themselves and open that up as a benefit for their workers, essentially having childcare facilities in the businesses. There's a really good bill that's making its way through the legislature that would essentially be a tax credit for businesses to open up their own childcare facilities. That's gotten some traction, and I think that'll get done. But it really is. This is going to be it's a big problem, and it's something that I think is not going to be solved. The silver bullet solution's not coming, and it's not coming, in the next month and a half.
Well, I like that idea of incentivizing businesses, because the childcare issue and childcare solutions aren't equally dispersed, and so if you leave it to the businesses to try to figure out how to solve for their individual employees' needs, I feel like that there's something there, and those kind of credits, I think, really can have standing and can have that strong support. Okay, when we come back, the year of mental health was last year. You guys have made some tremendous strides. We're going to talk about that when we return, but right now it's 1:19 on WTMJ.
Get inside the mind of Mark Tauscher.
I always enjoy having a podium. Like if you're giving a speech, they'll say, you want a podium? Who passes on a podium?
See the world from his perspective on Wisconsin's Morning News.
Have you ever been asked a question that when they asked it, you're like, that's kind of a dumb one?
Every day at 7:50.
Yeah, Wildy, pretty much. Jason Wildy, 9 to 12, pretty much every morning. Yeah.
Mark Tauscher on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by your Wisconsin Chevy dealers. Hello Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Kohler Services.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scavini for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you got to call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Find out for yourself. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
Welcome back on WTMJ. We are joined in studio by CJ Safer, the president and CEO for the Institute for Reforming Government. He is our regular guest on Monday talking about policy. So I get the smart people who know about policy where I don't really fully know and work with this. CJ, this article suggesting that Governor Evers has been silent on some of these GOP tax reforms kind of suggests to me that there might be some movement and some opportunity that he might sign this, which would be relief for Wisconsin taxpayers.
I don't think the governor wakes up every day like I do, thinking about how to alleviate the tax burden on Wisconsin families and businesses. So I think it would have to be put to the governor where it's either politically beneficial to a constituency of his. But I do think what the Republicans are proposing is very sensible. And look, they're going to have to spend down the surplus. I mean, the surplus, in any other words, means that the government is sitting on taxpayer money, not just $100 million, $500 million. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars of taxpayer money that the state is sitting on. That money has to get back to the taxpayers one way or another. The Republicans are really focused on helping middle-class families. And, I think the governor is going to have to either counter or acquiesce and sign it.
Yeah. This is bipartisan. I mean, Democrats and Republicans, we all want our money back, and we're not going to get it with interest like anyone else would, right?
The polling that we've done has showed that overwhelming there's been bipartisan support for tax cuts, bipartisan support that bipartisan concern that tax rates are a problem, and bipartisan support for cutting taxes.
All right, let's see where that goes. Switching gears now to last year was the year of mental health. And just because it was last year doesn't mean there's still progress this year ongoing. Can you talk about some of the successes and the progress with regard to mental health that your organization has been able to support and what you see coming down the pike at Madison?
Well, look, let's start out with two quick stories and stats. So one was a story from a stat from the state's Department of Children's Mental Health coming from the state of Wisconsin that 1 in 10 students have attempted suicide last year. 1 in 10 students have attempted suicide.
Mind-boggling.
Keep that in mind. Then you also go over to Wisconsin Public Radio, which has a really just kind of a mind-blowing story over at the UW River Falls campus that last fall, 4 students at UW River Falls committed suicide last fall. Out of 5,000 students, 4 just last fall committed suicide. Not related, all separate for separate reasons, but all related back to mental health. And when you kind of put it in those contexts, to call 2023 the year of mental health, I think that's important. I think it's important that policymakers, opinion leaders, and those that are kind of in that have any sort of audience talk about mental health, talk about the strains on families, the strain on students, the strain on really how it really impacts people's lives now more so than ever before. Some of it relating to COVID, some of it related to social media. Some of it just related to other factors, growing increased number of people who have depression. But at the end of the day, mental health was never going to be solved in 2023. It's something this issue is going to be with us for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And I would implore policymakers to continue to talk to school leaders, talk to families, talk to practitioners about how we can kind of continue to counter it. The biggest issue we have in Wisconsin that did not get solved last year, we just don't have enough mental health providers and practitioners. I mean, Wisconsin ranks towards the bottom when it comes to just number of people, so it's harder to get mental health treatment when there isn't that many providers or practitioners. Mm-hmm. My colleagues at IRG, led by our policy director, Alex Ignatowski, he's created bipartisan coalitions to advance telemental health, which is saying, if we can't find enough mental health practitioners in Wisconsin, let's make it as easy as possible to go outside the state for telemental health, mental health on Zoom, mental health on the phone, a real industry that's really blooming in a number of other states. have taken advantage of this. But Wisconsin right now, it's illegal and it's impossible to go across state lines to get mental health treatment. And we just think that when you look at different places in rural Wisconsin, kids on college that just don't have easy access to affordable mental health treatment, we have to make it as easy as possible for families and kids to get help, because every indicator is that the mental health problem in Wisconsin still exists, and it's going to be with us for a long period of time, sadly, tragically.
So the legislation that you have before the governor right now,
it's before it passed it's passed the Assembly, passed the Senate, bipartisan, and now it's sitting at Governor Evers' desk.
And we think, it's funny because when I look oh my gosh, it's funny when I look through articles and we look for topics to talk about, I see all this movement and activity in Madison, and whether it's a weight loss, getting kids activated in schools, whether it's about teaching civics, whether it's about allowing nurses to do prescriptions, it always says the governor is expected to veto it. The governor is expected to veto it. And it's like, what the heck are we doing, spending all this time putting forth legislation that won't get passed? So tell me, do we think he will sign it? What's your indication?
I think he'll sign it. If anyone wants to call his office and tell him to sign it, I would appreciate that. But no, I would expect him to sign it. It's very common sense. There was a time during COVID that his administration made it legal. It was just a very temporary. So, in my opinion, if it was good during that temporary time during COVID, it should be good public policy well beyond that. Look, our outreach team, we've done dozens and dozens of listening sessions across the state. We sat down, every school leader, every teacher, public school, private school, charter school that we've talked to, urban Wisconsin, rural Northwoods. Inevitably, when you talk to them of what are the issues that students face, you always get to mental health. We talked to a teacher in the Northwoods that said the number one issue that her class faces, 5th grade, 1 out of every 3 girls have attempted suicide. 5th grade, 1 out of every 3 girls have attempted suicide. Again, that's just a small sample size, but it's an insight of what teachers have to deal with kids at a very young age. And, it's a huge issue. And quite frankly, it's probably the number one K-12 issue when you really think about it, and a massive barrier to getting kids to learn.
Wow, that's tremendous. When you were talking about that, I actually get chills just knowing I have a 5th grader, just hearing that, those young ages. All right, when we return, CJ, we're going to ask you about some research you did with voters, specifically suburban women voters. It's 1:30. We'll be back with more, and CJ Safer from the IRG. It's 1:30 on WTMJ.
Headed out west to Rocky Mountain Way.
Beasley. This would be the triple-double, and Dame knocks it down. Consecutive games with a triple-double.
The Bucks travel a mile high for a matchup against the Nuggets in Denver. Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 7:30.
Bounce pass to Giannis. He takes it in and takes no mercy on the rim. His freight train number 34 goes barreling down.
We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Stop in at Fleet Farm for one of the biggest selections of Milwaukee tools around. Milwaukee's raised the bar on heavy-duty performance, and we've got over 1,100 Milwaukee tools and accessories to help you crush that to-do list. Like the M18 cordless 2-tool combo kit. 400 pounds of torque packed into just 4 pounds of compact drill driver plus 2 batteries. Shop all the top brands we carry to help you power through everyday life at Fleet Farm.
Doesn't it seem like you never have anything to wear? That's why I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Whether it's a designer top, jeans, an adorable skirt, or cute accessories, I always seem to find something I like. And at prices I love. Gently used women's clothing and accessories for far less than you thought possible. At St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to annexwealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at annexwealth.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Great to be with you on WTMJ. CJ, thanks for joining me. I just wanted to add one texter weighed in. I think it's an important point as we're talking about mental health. From the 262, I'd like to add that mental health doesn't end after school, which, it's very, very important point. It's literally almost impossible to find mental health care for adults as well. Our family doctor is forced to sit in that seat, and that is a very limited role he can play. And so what you're proposing and what we hope that the governor will sign, and we should reach out to the governor to ask him to sign the telehealth bill, right? The telemental health bill that will allow for additional services to be available through telehealth services.
It's, to me, getting more mental health providers and practitioners, as the listener said, should be the number one issue that policymakers face. And look, not everything gets solved overnight, but I think this is going to get the ball rolling, and hopefully there'll be additional conversations throughout the year, and it can be tackled again in a bipartisan manner in January of 2025.
I want to make a pivot here because we had discussed this a few weeks ago. Vice President Kamala Harris was in town on Monday, Tuesday-ish of last week, and she appeared in Waukesha. It is now the battleground for women. What's the WOW counties, the women voters in Waukesha. She was talking to them about reproductive rights, about the number one issue for those women, apparently, is abortion.
Nothing in politics ever happens by accident.
Yeah.
Right? Or she was in Waukesha because Waukesha is now a battleground, which to some of your listeners, think back where we were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mind-blowing that Waukesha in Waukesha County would be considered a battleground area, but that's where we are in 2024.
But is it because of a certain number of issues and a certain voter block or blocks?
There's a number of issues. So what IRG did late last summer is we did 3 focus groups, and we did a surveying of college-educated women in Washington, Ozaukee, and Waukesha County, really trying to drive at the question of what's happened in the last 10 years with this voting block of college-educated women who were really a bedrock for Governor Walker, and really the cheesehead revolution, the Republican revolution of 2010, who now are more closely being aligned to the Democratic Party and are voting for Tony Evers or Janet Protasewicz or the liberal in the state Supreme Court. And our simple question is, what's driving that change in voting behavior? And what are some of their bigger issues that they're concerned on from a public policy level? And it was really fascinating because, one, it's an appreciation that voters are very nuanced. So I stipulate that. But, the 3 big things is, one is, they're this voting block through the focus groups, through the polling that we did. One, very focused on kitchen table issues. So focused on childcare, focused on healthcare, focused on kind of things that impact, the pocketbook of the family. 2, they want to see a compromise between the two parties. And 3, there's just an all-time distrust amongst both Republicans and Democrats. The problem is they distrust Republicans more. So, I don't read this as good news for the Democratic Party, but they have a deep distrust of the Republican Party. Look, when you break it down of what issues do you care about, for moderate and liberal women, abortion was number 1, followed closely by taxes and crime. Abortion was not a top issue for conservative women, so you kind of see a little bit of like the polarization of Wisconsin. But certainly, in the top three issues like healthcare and taxes and the budget kind of came up time and time again. The problem is for Republicans is they no longer trust Republicans on the issue of taxes, on the issue of crime, on the issue of healthcare. They align more with the Democratic, or they trust the Democratic Party more.
Was that surprising to you? And what do you think the path forward is? Especially because, it appears when you have different number one, number two, number three issues for these different blocks, Democrat and Republican or progressive and conservative, how does somebody really get in the middle and move forward? Or do we just continue to just speak very loudly to one group that cares about abortion and then speak very loudly to another group that cares about crime and taxes?
Well, I thought to me, healthcare was the most surprising. Healthcare was routinely, I believe 35% of the women in the survey said healthcare was a top three issue.
Was that abortion healthcare?
It was not. Abortion was something separate.
Got it.
Maybe they were lumping them together, but healthcare was, and then healthcare came up time and time again in the focus groups. The crazy thing to me, looking at the outset, is the Democratic Party has owned the issue of healthcare for the last decade plus. That was Obamacare. That was the biggest overhaul in the healthcare industry in our generation, and yet they're still upset at healthcare, but yet they more closely trust Democrats on the issue. So to me, that's more of a messaging issue for Republicans to work on, is talking about healthcare reform, talking about ways we can kind of make healthcare more affordable for families. Crime, I think that was a little surprising that college-educated women slightly trusted Democrats more on crime. If you think back to last election, Tim Michaels constantly hammered Tony Evers on crime, especially in Kenosha. Our surveying and focus groups really showed that didn't really sink in for one reason or another. But obviously, abortion was the biggest driver. An appreciation that all of the work that we did in the focus groups and the polling showed that there was a decreasing amount of distrust with Republicans before Roe v. Wade was overturned. So certainly, when you asked at the beginning of the segment how much of it was related to abortion. A lot, but not all, because again, this shifting in voting behavior did occur before Roe versus Wade.
So did you see, kind of on your conclusion, did you see that this is really divided, or was there any sort of middle ground for a candidate to seek, or even a Republican candidate to try to make this the issue for the Republican Party?
100%. I mean, I think there's a real opportunity. Again, snapshots, polling is a snapshot in time, focus groups, but there is an opportunity, especially when it comes to healthcare, crime, childcare, as we talked about last segment, for Republicans and conservatives to be more proactive in pushing reforms, pushing solutions, pushing for real ways to solve problems, and a full appreciation that is hard, and to kind of constantly be message disciplined. But there is an opportunity there. This is a voting block that I think is still there for the taking. Abortion is, again, the number one issue for moderate women. But there's opportunities for Republicans to make up ground, but they have to be very aggressive and very proactive.
Well, and whatever the case is, I just hope we can have thoughtful discussion around it. I think there's a lot of just divisiveness across the board, and being one of those suburban college-educated women.
I know, it's you. We did not talk to you in the focus group, though.
No.
Full disclosure.
Yep. And I found it not surprising, but interesting to see the numbers because I see it where I live. I live in Ozaukee County, and I'd say, probably Ozaukee's a little bit ahead of Waukesha in terms of being progressive, in terms of attracting a more progressive candidate or constituent, but nevertheless, I was very surprised, but continue to watch it with interest. CJ Safer from the Institute of Reforming Government, thank you so much for being with me.
Thanks for having me.
All right, it's 1:41 on WTMJ.
3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission. You can't find a lower rate of commission, and you won't be able to find better knowledge, service, and real estate expertise than you'll find with our agents at Benefit Realty. Because I know that's what you expect. Now, I'm not sure you'll be able to find the highest caliber of agents everywhere, but I can promise that's what you'll get here. So choose Benefit Realty to exceed your expectations, and you'll pay less for more. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. Whether you're an active or passively active home shopper, our agents want you to be completely up to date with what's out there and what's brand new to the market. With our instant emailed MLS updates, you'll never miss out on what could be the home of your dreams. All you have to do is call and tell us where to search, give us a price range, and soon you'll be totally in tune with your desired real estate market. Remember, MLS searches show you everything. Some of the other real estate sites don't. So call Benefit Realty today, where you'll pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often, because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved, but here you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Little Bangles. I like that. Little Manic Monday. He caught me because I was actually out talking to CJ Safer. And I forget, usually we have a longer break. But no, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. He's been such a great, reliable guest with so much great policy information. They do a ton of great research. I know one texter asked, is he a lobbyist? Or do you think your listeners understand that he is a lobbyist? And the answer is he is not a lobbyist. I know that the organization probably does some lobbying. They also do some bill writing and also advocacy work. Just like I do. I am not a lobbyist, but I like to, I work with the legislature. We advocate for legislation. We work with legislators. And so I think there's a distinct difference between the two. And so yes, he is not a lobbyist, but instead the president and CEO for the Institute for Reforming Government. But great discussion on some tax policy. And I think as you listen to the news and as you start to hear about movement in Madison, you're going to think back to some of these conversations. And if you want to check it out, it's on the WTMJ extras on WTMJ.com. If you want to check out any of these conversations, you go back and see kind of how things are moving, because the issues that CJ and his group are focused on, whether it's tax reform, tax policy, mental health policy, a lot of these are bipartisan in nature. And these are the types of bills that I think have the greatest chance of sticking and staying and being signed into law. I know working in my position with the commercial real estate industry, we have to make sure that we have bipartisan support across the board, whether it's property taxes or whether it's housing policy. All of that needs to really have that across the aisle support in order to receive the support that it needs. Okay, when we come back, I have two quick Bucks pieces that I want to share with you. Some of it you guys have been texting me about that I need to talk about. And the other one is just a feel-good story, but we'll get to that when we come back. It's 1:46.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on two of the three critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, We also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, Accunet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, Accunet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. Accunet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Some things are better as a combo. Macaroni and cheese, Sherlock and Watson, peanut butter and sauerkraut. Hey, don't knock it until you've tried it. Here's another iconic combo: heat and electricity, two of Mr. Holland's most popular home services, especially this time of the year. But if you think this duo can't be any more dynamic, check out Mr. Holland's cold weather combo. Purchase a new heating system in January and get a combo-licious discount on a whole house backup generator. Or electrify your life with a new professionally installed backup generator and get a combo-rific deal on a new furnace. Plus, you may qualify for 0% financing for up to 24 months. See Mr. Holland's Home Services for complete terms and conditions. Keep the lights burning and the heat churning with Mr. Holland's Cold Weather Combo. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If you want to give Old Man Winter a 1-2 punch, we can help.
Get a tax refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt now. No fee refund advance is offered to eligible clients. Application required. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
You didn't even know that was the perfect song. A little Mellencamp there. I like that. We should do a trivia. I'm really good at music trivia, Aaron. All right. This caught my attention because I just think it's such a wonderful event that the Milwaukee Bucks do and participate in every year. They might do it more than once a year. But what they do is they recognize people who become U.S. citizens during their halftime show. So this Saturday, they recognized a number of individuals, including a gentleman, Richard Callis. He is a United Kingdom native who works as a Wisconsin State Trooper. He became a U.S. citizen during the halftime show, or the halftime at the Milwaukee Bucks game on Saturday, January 27th. At the halftime, a number of other individuals received their citizenship. And it's such a great celebration. I've been to one of them. This was probably last year, but they did it again this year. But it's just such a reminder of how important the legal immigration process is and how grateful these people are to have gone through that process. I know a number of individuals who've gone through that immigration process, and there is no greater feeling than having worked so hard, having done so much work, having waited so much time to be able to say, I'm a United States citizen, and to see them just beaming and bursting with pride is just such a great reminder of what a great country this is. And again, Saturday night, we saw a number of individuals, including this gentleman from the United Kingdom, become a United States citizen. So that's a great tradition that the Milwaukee Bucks has. And this is a great segue to remind you that the Milwaukee Bucks, you can stream their games on WTMJ.com or the WTMJ app. And tonight they play the Denver Nuggets. It's an away game. And you can watch the Bucks. You can stream if you're within 75 miles of Milwaukee, of where we are, the station. And the Bucks are just on fire, man. They killed the Pelicans this weekend. And it's just a great way to take in a Bucks game. All right. When we come back, we're going to tee up what we've got for you in the 2 o'clock hour. You're not going to want to miss that. It's 1:52 on WTMJ.
Wake up with me. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 8:15 for Matzik's Morning Minute during Wisconsin's Morning News. Everything you need to know about all your favorite Wisconsin teams in just 60 seconds.
It's a true test to all of us, but I do believe in the guys in that locker room in terms of the character that we have.
Every Monday and Friday at 8:15 during Wisconsin's Morning News.
Lopez squeezes up a three, rattles another one through. Oh, it's contagious.
Sponsored by Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac.
According to the U.S. debt clock, our debt is over $32 trillion and climbing. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? At Drake & Associates, we can help you create a plan so your retirement is tax efficient as possible. If you'd like to continue your education, we have our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides on retirement tax savings. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call or text now.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone. Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations. Brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp. And new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Great to be with you this afternoon. Welcome back. Man, time is flying. 2 hours in, an hour to go. All right, in the next hour, you are not going to want to miss this. We're going to talk about jobs. All right. And I'm thinking a lot of people out there either have a job or had a job or have more than one job. And that is what we are going to discuss. So to tee that up, though, our economy is one that it's crazy because the numbers suggest that our economy is humming along. We had Janet Yellen from the Biden administration, Secretary Janet Yellen, in Milwaukee last Friday. She was visiting the Big Step and the WRTP, meeting with trades, talking about and touting the investment in the trades and construction and industry and all of that. She came a day after President Biden was in town talking about the economic success, talking about Bidenomics. We've got record low unemployment. We've got GDP numbers that suggest our country is moving in the right direction. Consumer spending is high. The stock market continues to blast through records. But, if you ask the individual consumer, they have a tight pocketbook. I mean, we talk about these kitchen table issues, and we talk about how people are stretched and people are having to make choices. Last week, we discussed at length how 1 in 3 people have more in credit card debt than they do in savings. All of that money that they were able to save and realize during COVID is now all out the window. It's like they spent and they got used to spending, and then with inflation, they were just never able to keep up. And you throw on top of that concerns with student debt, with rising interest rates, people unable to buy homes, the cost of rent increasing. And now you start to see that you've got some turmoil, you've got some concerns, especially for this huge portion of the population that is the Generation Z and the millennials. And so what's really going on here? And, I get a number of texters that say, the numbers are great. The numbers are awesome. How can you be saying that there's anything wrong with the economy? I just got one person say they got a raise. All right, good for you. A lot of people didn't get a raise. A lot of people didn't get their bonuses. And there are a lot of people who are being laid off. The tech sector, just in the last couple of weeks, laid off 30,000 people. And this is just the beginning. We are just getting to the point in the earnings season when these tech companies and publicly traded companies have to report. And so this is traditionally when we're going to start to see those pressures and that layoffs. So in the next half hour after the news, we're going to talk about that and how people are making it work. Do they have one job? Do they have 2 jobs? Do they have 3 jobs? What is their situation? When we come back, we will dive into that, and we're going to want you to weigh in as well. It's 1:58 right now on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through the end of February, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 13 years, Adam has provided more than 2.4 million meals to people in southeastern Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Time for the Bucks to take these so-called NBA champions down a peg.
He uncorks a 3 and he hits it at the horn. Game time at the end of the 3rd quarter.
The Bucks are in Denver with coverage of the game starting tonight at 7:30 on your home of the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good afternoon, 2 o'clock. We have mostly sunny skies, 45 degrees, chance of showers tonight with an overnight low of 35. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. A judge will consider whether to release one of the women charged in the Slender Man case from 2014 at a hearing today. An attorney for Morgan Geyser has requested her release from Winnebago Mental Health Institute. She and Anissa Wire stabbed Peyton Leitner in Davids Park after a sleepover, allegedly to please the fictional character Slender Man. The hearing scheduled for 3 o'clock this afternoon in Waukesha County. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the Biden administration will take all necessary actions to defend service members. His comments at the Pentagon today came after that attack on a U.S. outpost in Jordan that left 3 American troops dead. President Biden has vowed to retaliate against the Iranian-backed groups in the region accused of carrying out that strike. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is hoping to leverage her home state to gain ground on former President Trump as the state hosts the 3rd competitive contest of the primary season. Columbia, South Carolina Republican Mayor Daniel Rickman says what his state needs.
We're a critical state. We've probably had the second largest growth over the last years, especially after the pandemic. We're, becoming an economic engine around automotive, over 500 companies across the state involved. So, somebody who understands our state is important.
Meanwhile, a verdict in Donald Trump's New York civil fraud trial could come as soon as this week. State Attorney General Letitia James wants a Manhattan judge to order Trump to pay a $370 million fine in her case against the former president, which accuses him of falsely inflating the value of real estate in order to get more favorable loans. The judge has expected to rule by the end of the month. New Jersey Congressman Frank Pallone has introduced legislation that he says will curb the frequency of robocalls and scam texts. Pallone says a recent Supreme Court decision allowed scammers to go around existing do not call protections, and his legislation called the Do Not Disturb Act will offer extra safeguards.
People are protected as much as possible, that that most of what's a robocall will become illegal, that there will be enhanced penalties, and there'll be ways of trying to update the process with these federal agencies so that as time goes on and the fraudsters try to come up with different ways of trying to scam you, that will be on top of it.
Milwaukee County supervisors demanding answers from the Milwaukee County Zoo as to why a proposed penguin exhibit will cost around $1.5 million more than initially proposed.
At a Committee on Parks and Culture meeting last Tuesday, Supervisor Steve Taylor was critical of a design error with the exhibit's sand filters.
Somebody said should roll for that kind of mistake of missing the vote on the size of a filter. I mean, holy cow.
Supervisor Stephen Shea was the lone vote in support, but even he had this to say to zoo leadership.
Please don't come back to us for more money anytime soon like this.
The County Finance Committee granted the request, which will go to the full board later this month for final approval. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A case of chronic wasting disease has been detected in a Sheboygan deer. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports the positive test was confirmed by the National Veterinary Services Laboratories. CWD is the fatal neurological disease of deer, elk, and moose caused by an infectious protein. In recent years, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources added several restrictions on baiting deer to combat the spread of the disease. The head of the Harley-Davidson Museum expects a busy weekend this July to run smoothly in Milwaukee.
It's a weekend that'll include German Fest, the Milwaukee Air and Water Show, and the Harley-Davidson Homecoming Festival.
We're excited about it. We think it's going to be a tremendous weekend in Milwaukee.
Harley-Davidson Museum VP Bill Davidson tells Wisconsin's Morning News all entities are collaborating.
It's just going to bring people together from all walks of life.
Davidson also says during the weekend, the motorcycle maker will honor his father, Willie G. Davidson.
And it's going to be really, really fun.
Is he jumping out of a plane, or what do we think?
Well, he'd probably like to. But I got to talk him out
Eric
of that.
Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are up. Dow up now 109 points. NASDAQ is up 118 and the S&P 500 is up 20. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button now. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:04.
The pain was so bad I could barely walk. And now after stem cell treatment, I run marathons.
Now this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes. And I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenex, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Brewers win!
Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
After dominating the Pelicans on Saturday night, the Bucks are back out in the Mile High City tonight to take on the Nuggets. 32-14 Bucks will welcome in Doc Rivers to make his debut as head coach beginning tonight.
We all know what he brings. You know, we heard his voice, him coaching other teams. You know, he's had success. Played in this league. He went to school in this city. Been around a long time as a coach. You know, he's coached a lot of great players. So I think you would have a hard time thinking of something that he hasn't experienced.
Milwaukee will look to begin their 5-game West Coast road trip tonight with an 8 p.m. tip time in Denver. Super Bowl 58 is all set. The 49ers knocking off the Detroit Lions Sunday 34-31. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes heading back to the Super Bowl after the Chiefs knocked off the Ravens 17-10. It'll be a rematch from 4 years ago. Niners-Chiefs, February 11th from Las Vegas. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads now with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We do have some slowing in the construction zone. I-43 both north and southbound, downtown to Brown Deer Road. Northbound will take you about 20 minutes. Southbound, that's about a 15-minute drive this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Shop Ken Michaels Furniture's January New Year's sale for savings up to 50% off on better quality furniture and mattresses. Showrooms in Greenfield, Brookfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Maybe a shower this evening or a wintry mix. An overnight low tonight, 35. A drizzle tomorrow or maybe a wintry mix early tomorrow morning. Cloudy with a high of 40. Partly cloudy Wednesday, 44. Mostly cloudy Thursday with a high again of 44. Then Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 38. Madison, 35. Green Bay, 32. And Milwaukee, we're at 46 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:08.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Welcome back to this Monday show. Great to be with you once again. Hey, I have to comment. Sometimes the news just moves you. And I heard the story about the Milwaukee County supervisors who are upset by the penguin project, the cost of the penguin project at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Apparently, it is costing $1.5 million more than originally planned. Well, this is a perfect opportunity to remind everyone that on Friday, which is Groundhog Day, that the Milwaukee County Zoo is not going to have a groundhog because if you weren't following, Gordy the groundhog has passed away. Instead, they are going to have penguins. Penguins that will be predicting if we will have 6 more weeks of winter. So if they see their shadow, they are going to turn around and go back into their little pavilion and we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to that, a correlation. I don't know. But yeah, so that's going to be so fun to watch. I just love it. I love Groundhog Day. That whole thing is just really, really funny tradition. All right. I want to turn to this now because I'm already getting texts on this and I'm going to want you to weigh in. 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ Talk and Text line. As I was mentioning before the break, our economy, I could go back and forth with people on, is our economy good? Secretary Janet Yellen was in town last week touting the Biden economy and how the economy is great. And if you look at a lot of the numbers, the low unemployment, the high consumer spending, even high GDP, a lot of people would say, okay, yeah, the economy is great. And in many regards, across the board, economists are suggesting that we will not have a recession, that this is going to be a soft landing, so to speak, that, we're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. And they're talking about inflation is easing. And I always think that's an interesting concept really to think about is inflation is easing. So that means that the rate at which the costs are increasing is actually slowing down. But we still got to this really, really, really high place where the cost of everything has gone up. The cost of absolutely everything, with the exception maybe of fuel, which is interesting. That just kind of bounces around, and I think it's actually lower. But the cost of everything has just increased, and it's just become built into our way of life. And it's just become the norm, and we should be thankful that it's not increasing at the rate at which it was. This at the same time when we've seen that wages have not kept up. Wages have not kept up with that inflation. And we're certainly seeing some softness in the job market with layoffs across many sectors, not just the tech sector, but manufacturing. You've got a lot of people worrying about their job because of robots and automation. They're truly concerned. People are no longer moving from job to job, hoping to make $5,000 more a year. Bonuses have slowed down or stopped in many cases. As I mentioned before the break, 1 in 3 Americans' credit card debt outweighs their emergency savings. Many say they don't even have $400 to their name. This is leading more people to having 2 jobs. And I want to read from an article that suggests that the number of Americans working 2 or more jobs has reached its highest level since the pandemic start, according to new federal data. Nearly 8.4 million people held multiple jobs in October, the Labor Department reported at that time. They represent 5.2% of the workforce, the largest share of moonlighters since January of 2020. Employment statistics show that 5.9% of women worked multiple jobs, compared with 4.7% of men. Roughly 5 million Americans held 1 full-time job and 1 part-time job. Nearly 2 million held 2 part-time gigs. Another 1.1 million said they held jobs where the hours varied. Fewer than 400,000 held 2 full-time jobs. I want to make a quick note on that. The 2 full-time job thing, that is, was really, I think, more prevalent during kind of the COVID when people were working remote, and there were so many jobs available, especially in that tech space and especially for remote workers, where you could kind of work 2 jobs if you really wanted to do that. But these are striking numbers. And I think that people are really kind of left with no other choice than to work 2 jobs, than to, sacrifice the time, sacrifice the life experiences in order to be able to pay their bills. 855-616-1620, that's the WTMJ talk and text line. Is this statistic what's keeping us afloat? And is this the new normal for many families? I remember when I was growing up, and even after college, I had a full-time job and a part-time job, and I did that so that I could, get ahead. But now this isn't about getting ahead. This is about just getting by. And is this the new normal? Is this the new way of life? And is this the great economy that we all get to say that we're a part of? 855-616-1620 on the WTMJ talk and text line. Do families really need to have one person working 2 jobs? And many times you've got 2 parents working 2 jobs just to get by. The cost of rent, of property taxes, of groceries. Let's talk about a car payment. Let's talk about the expectation of putting money away for your kids' college education. I mean, that would be getting ahead, and we can't even do that. Is working 2 jobs the norm now? You've got almost 5% of the workforce, the largest share since January 2020 that are taking 2 jobs. Whether it's an Uber driver, whether they're doing DoorDash on the side, whether they're trying to keep it all together, doing 2 remote jobs at the same time. 855-616-1620. Your response, my reaction, when we return.
WTMJ Now with Steve Scafidi.
We are so absurd with our politics now that there's an opportunity as we speak to at least try to mediate or fix our issues at the border.
Get the latest news. Hear the opinions.
We don't buy into the nonsense that Paul Ryan is a rhino, which is the most overused term, misused term, in the history of political terms.
All in Wisconsin.
Little fear is a good thing. Fear punishment for bad behavior.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on WTMJ.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
And you can dance for inspiration.
Welcome back on WTMJ.
Come on.
Aaron knows that on Friday I'm going to see Madonna. I know that may turn off some listeners, but hey, man, I'm a Gen Xer, and that is what I was brought up with. So, and we're playing a little trivia. He's trying to trick me. All right, 855-616-1620 on the WTMJ talk and text line. Is the norm now that we have to have 2 jobs? You know, from the text line, it suggests that, wages are not keeping up for inflation. We've got a number of texters from the 414. Whatever has to be done. I love that. We just figure it out. We make it work. This is, our generations at this time. I think a lot of it has to do with who we are and where we're located. We are hardy. We get it done. We do the hard work. All right, Mike in Illinois, you're on WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Tracy. How are you?
Excellent. What do you think? Thanks for calling.
So, most people that I know, including myself, have a part-time job because they want a little more. They want to have some money do some, other things besides just paying the bills. I think most people that I know, including myself, could make it without the part-time job, but they want that little extra so they can do some things that they probably wouldn't be able to do.
Well, I mean, but at some point, let's just say you've got the 2 jobs. Now inflation has caught up with that. How do you square that?
Well, I mean, so a lot of people are making more money, at least in the blue-collar jobs, than they ever have before. That's post-COVID. During COVID, those wages went up. And then I think inflation caught up with those higher wages. People were spending more and, inflation went up. But I think that it's just, for the most part, it's what you want to do with your money. If you want to do a little more, if there are people, like I said, I can only speak for myself and the people that I know, and they're working their part-time job because they want to do some things that they couldn't do if they just had the full-time job. They could still make it, but they wouldn't be able to do some of those things.
Yeah.
So, at least from my perspective, it's more about want than need.
No, Mike, I appreciate that perspective. A number of texters saying, I have childcare costs. Yeah, my childcare costs alone are eating up any sort of discretionary spending. We talked about people not going out as much during the weekend or during the weekdays because that discretionary money just isn't there. From the 231, the economy can be doing great, but regular people are not going to notice much because trickle down doesn't work. All right. From the 262, it is not a good economy. The rate of inflation is not keeping up with salaries, and that is not good. From the 414, I'm a government employee, emergency services. My wife is a nurse. Since the new administration has taken office, out savings has been at an all-time low. I have since retired from the National Guard, which was a part-time job, and have started my own small business. We are still not financially ahead. I'm currently seeking a new part-time job to keep up with ongoing escalating costs. I mean, that's significant. I mean, we just got our property tax bill. That went up. I didn't get a raise, and if I did get a raise, it went to pay for the increase in tuition or the increase in groceries or the increase in insurance. Car insurance, health insurance. From the 262, when I tell a lot of people to get a hobby that will pay you so you can make extra money on the side. From the 414, one of my Uber drivers at Wisconsin Dells this past weekend said he's also a corrections officer. I felt bad for him because he probably puts up with a lot of nonsense in both professions. Yes, I think a lot of people from the 414, my husband and I have no kids, so we have some more flexibility. We both work full-time jobs and each bartend part-time. I also do DoorDash here and there. Cost of living and groceries and rent going up all the time is making one income impossible. 5% seems exceptionally low. I know quite a few people who work 2 or more jobs right now. I actually think it's becoming the norm. I mean, when I think about it, when I don't have my kids anymore, I hope my husband's not listening. I mean, I would possibly take up a gig, especially in this gig economy. You can do DoorDash, you can do some of this Uber, you can do a lot of things on the side. And I think it's one thing if it's done for enjoyment or if it's done to be able to save for a vacation or those extra niceties. But a lot of people have to do this to just get by. And it's really, really sad, especially coming off of, when COVID, we were all talking about how we loved the flexibility and we got back in touch with our families and got back in touch with doing the things that we love and being able to say no and put up boundaries and do what we wanted to do. And just the economy and the fact that people can't afford things. They can't afford to put food on their table. They can't afford to pay for their kids' education. It's just making it impossible and untenable. And I feel bad. I feel sad, especially for those, maybe even small business owners. We had one texter, and I lost the text here, that said, I own a painting business. I'm a self-employed painter, and work is completely dead for myself and fellow painters. I am paying double for materials at my cost. And if anybody is not paying cash, there's markup for credit card. Yes, totally. Especially these small businesses, right? Especially when we talk about creating that entrepreneurial spirit, people that want to paint, whether it's woodworking, any of the labor. I mean, yeah, that's great. And it's great to be able to have that as a job or a second job. But now you've got the cost of materials. And are people, the consumer side, going to be able to pay this? And I think we've seen things come to a complete stop. And in the case of this painter, for example, I know a few years ago, it was impossible to get on the schedule of a painter. And this is when costs and inflation were relatively low or increasing much more slowly. But now we've just seen this skyrocket. And so you got to think again. Consumers are thinking again. And not to mention the amount of stress that people are under thinking that their jobs could be the next on the chopping block. So I feel like there's just a different mindset across the board of the American worker in terms of saying, I'm going to take this job and I'm going to be good at it. I'm going to appreciate it. I'm going to do a great job. And if I have to get another job, I'm going to figure that out, because that's a ballast if something, in fact, does happen. All right, we got a couple more comments and a call to get to when we come back. It's 2:25 right now, though, on WTMJ.
Oh, I'm already running late. Let's go. There's a backup on I-94 eastbound.
Wait, is that Debbie Loziga?
Expect delays.
Well, how bad is it?
Alternate routes will help you in your journey.
I feel better.
Get where you need to go calmly with traffic reporter Debbie Loziga, only on News Radio WTMJ.
Follow me on social.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik, and I'm excited to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. The NBA season is here. There is no easier way to get in on the action than with Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. It's a fantasy game, but you can win real money. And yes, it is legal in Wisconsin. Pick between 2 to 5 players, select higher or lower on their stats. If your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. There's even golf and baseball. Here's how you get started. Download their very easy-to-use mobile app. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code WTMJ. Underdog Fantasy will double your first deposit up to $100. I love it. It's easy to use, it's fast, and so much fun to play. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code WTMJ. Sign up now. Start playing and start winning. Must be 18 years of age or older to play and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
You got me. You got me. What is it? What is it?
George Benson, give me the night.
Oh, God. There we go.
Love this one, Tracy.
Okay. He's like dancing back there. All right, he got me. I didn't know this song. Now we're playing DJ back there. All right, this is what happens on a Monday. On the Monday of Groundhog's Day week. As we get crazy in here. All right. This is not a funny topic. We are talking about the fact that many workers are, in fact, forced to have 2 jobs as a result of the economy and as a result of inflation. And many workers are finding a lot of stress around even their current jobs. And looking at what else is out there. And I came across this story because it's interesting, not suggesting that anyone would definitely want to do this, but this was a huge, huge topic last year. Milwaukee County Parks is looking to hire 200 lifeguards for the 2024 summer season. So while it's cold and dreary outside, it looks and feels a whole lot like summer inside Pulaski Indoor Pool on South 16th Street in Milwaukee. Nearly a dozen swimmers spent part of their Saturday attending lifeguard tryouts at the indoor pool for Milwaukee County pools this season. So this year, Milwaukee County Park is looking, like I said, to hire 200 lifeguards to keep watch over the county's 13 outdoor and indoor pools. Employees must be 16 years of age to participate and be able to swim 100 yards in 1 minute and 45 seconds. The Parks Department is getting an early start to this season's tryouts to avoid staffing shortages they've been plagued with in the past. Last year, if you recall, Milwaukee County Parks had to close down pools because of staffing issues. And if you're in any small community across the listening area, you will know this is not a Milwaukee County specific issue. Nationwide, there's a lifeguard shortage. The goal of Milwaukee County is to open everything and have as much access to swimming as possible. Pay in Milwaukee County is just over $17 an hour with bonuses and incentives along the way. I had a roommate who was a lifeguard, and man, she was during summer in college. That's just seemed like such a great job. But it's interesting. Last year, I remember, I think it was Waukesha County Executive Paul Farrow made some comments or made some statements about the fact that there was such a lifeguard shortage because young people, high school age kids, even some college graduates or college students just weren't going after these types of positions. Just in general, they weren't having part-time jobs, or they weren't having summer jobs. Instead, they were doing summer school, or they were doing tutoring, or they were involved in these sports camps or these crazy camps for soccer or whatever. And so these local economies, especially pools, tourism areas, they really struggle to find staff. And, these worker shortages in some of these jobs are really, really pronounced. I would say, being a lifeguard is not an easy job. I know I said, that looked like the live-in, that would be great. But that is a serious job. And, not to mention you have to be able to swim. I know people who can't swim, which is like, I don't want to say it's crazy because I don't want to disparage people who don't know how to swim, but that is very, very important when you're talking about county parks and you're talking about Milwaukee County pools. This is a respite for many residents across the area. Especially when it's, 110 degrees out, you've got high humidity. I know this was a huge concern, especially last year when we were, going through this lifeguard shortage. And this is a source of entertainment for a lot of people who live around this area. If you don't have a place for them to go, a place for them to be active, a place for them to cool down, that can cause a lot of problems. So good on Milwaukee County for trying to get ahead of this. 200 lifeguard positions, that seems like a tall order. That's a lot of lifeguards. So if you're looking for extra gig, that could be a good one. All right. And I don't want to make light of it. I'm just saying this came across my desk and how fortunate for the timing. All right. When we come back, I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but Wisconsin is looking at a new type of license plate. I thought this was very, very interesting. I want to share it with you. We are not the first state to have this, but license plates are actually something that I happen to know a lot about. So I'm going to share that with you when we come back. Right now, though, it's 2:34 on WTMJ.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
With the help of Less's Glass, you can have the shower you've always wanted. Heavy glass shower enclosures from Less's Glass are installed by the best in the business. And when you have a showroom to visit with over a dozen glass shower enclosures on display, there's no guessing games. See the ultimate in frameless shower design with doors mounted on smooth as silk, stainless steel barn-style rollers. This design combines the beauty and elegance of heavy glass with a minimalist look to create an ideal shower enclosure for tight spaces. Premium shower doors and custom-designed all-glass enclosures. When you work with Less's Glass, you're working with a company that really can do it all. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
2:36 on WTMJ. I know I throw out the text line a lot, 855-616-1620, and I respond to as many as I can, but I just thank you all for texting in. I mean, this is such a great, hardworking audience and so much knowledge and wisdom. I wish I could read every text and talk to every caller, but hey, I feel you on inflation, and I think people are working very, very hard, and I don't know what the right answer is, but it's just certainly something that we all share. I want to move to this story now, and it was in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel yesterday. It is about the blackout license plates. Okay? This is a throwback specialty license plate design popular in the neighboring states of Iowa and Minnesota, and it could become available in Wisconsin if a new bill in the state legislature picks up speed. The blackout design, which features the license number and the word Wisconsin in white lettering on a black background, would be established under a proposal introduced last week by Representative Paul Meletic and Senator Dan Knodel. The throwback in design, embraced by other states, add a touch of nostalgia and individuality to our vehicles, the lawmakers wrote in a memo seeking co-sponsors. Not only will this bring a sense of unity and pride among vehicle owners, but it also has the potential to contribute significantly to the state's revenue. The design is exceedingly popular in Iowa, where the plates have generated $30 million in revenue. When Minnesota introduced the plates at the start of January, more than 1,600 were sold within the first 2 days. The design is also common in Colorado and Mississippi. So I'm not sure if you saw this yet, but it is actually really cool. And I love license plates. I have kind of mixed feelings on this because I like to play the license plate game with my kids when we're, driving on a road trip. It's like, can you identify the license plate kind of without, you can't always read the state, right? So, every state has its own kind of individual license plate. I remember back in the day, Wisconsin had the yellow with the black letters. In fact, that was on my first car. And then they moved to the white with the red letters. And I actually had a personalized license plate. It said, "It's all right." Some people said, "Does that say it's a writ?" Or "It's just Atari." Like, people couldn't read it. It was really funny. But anyway, this one is a black license plate with just white writing. And it appears that like a number of other states have adopted this design. And it is very, very popular. So if the design is approved in Wisconsin, it would cost $25 more than the standard plate. So if you've ever done a personalized plate or one of the Support the Cranes or the Marquette University plates, you pay that extra fee. So you'd pay that extra standard, extra $25 plus a $25 annual renewal fee. After the State Department of Transportation collects enough revenue to cover the initial cost of production, the rest would go toward funding state transportation projects. And I thought that was a really interesting bottom line to this, is because, a lot of times when people get those personal plates, and there's 55 different ones you can do. Cure childhood cancer, disabled veteran, donate life, gold star, keeping the lights on. I'm just reading down the list. Whitetails Unlimited. There's Muskie Clubs Alliance, Milwaukee Bucks. There's all kinds of different kind of personalized plates. Those all go, a portion of the fee that you pay goes towards that organization. That organization that lobbied to get that personal plate or that special plate, they had to go through a process. And until a few years ago, it had to actually go through the legislature and be approved by the governor. But now all they have to do is collect 500 signatures from people who intend to buy the plate and pay a $15,500 development fee. When I used to work for the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, and we were looking at doing a Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra plate. And I think it was at the time when you had to go through the legislature, and it was just like too much work, and the return was just not there. But I think the takeaway from this blackout license plate is that the money would go to the state transportation fund, which I mean, I mean, we're always looking for more money for the state transportation fund, right? So give the people what they want, and then you're going to make money for the state transportation fund, all right? So this blackout license plate, I think, is really interesting. If you haven't checked it out, there are some pictures on JS Online. I think it's kind of cool. The DOT's development phase can take up to a year, so the blackout design might not be ready to hit the roads in the immediate future. So keep an eye out for that. But I got to say, personally, I think it would look really cool. I have a black car, and I just think it would be really cool to have a blackout license plate. All right. More when we come back. Right now, though, it's 2:41 on WTMJ.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
Inflation is affecting so many families, and it's real. Makes the super affordable Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford better than ever. One of my favorite places. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Mondays are Family Pizza Day. Enjoy a huge 18-inch pizza for just $14.99. Easily feeds a family of 4. Pizzas like this at other restaurants, $22 or more. And this is new from the Mine Shaft, and it really is amazing. Every Tuesday, the Mine Shaft presents their all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for under $10. It's the best Tuesday dining value anywhere. An all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for just $9.99. Your kids and grandkids, you know they're going to love and safely play in that huge game room, quietly tucked away from the dining area. Wherever you live, it's worth the drive to the Mine Shaft Tuesday for the all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for under $10. Kids under 3 always eat for free. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and just off the interstate at Oshkosh. Reserve your table today for the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet. Just $9.99. MineShaftRestaurant.com.
Everyone's journey after a serious crash is different, but no matter the circumstances, the one thing you'll need is help. Our team at Gruber Law Offices is here for you 24/7. Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call. That's all.
Thrifters can spot great deals from a mile away. And here the term great deal is an understatement. The lowest prices on men's, women's, and children's clothing. Toys, furniture, housewares, jewelry, and accessories. Bikes, books, games, and more. And every time you're here, you'll find something new. So if you're thrifty, you'll find this place is pretty nifty. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores. Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield. And 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through the end of February, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 13 years, Adam has provided more than 2.4 million meals to people in southeastern Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
I can't Shazam this. I don't know.
You know this one?
No.
It's Olivia Newton-John.
Oh my God. Now I'm going to get a bunch of hate mail because I don't know it. I appreciate it though. I love music. I'm not sure we ever got to talk about my love of music. I know one time we did a concert hit on concert tickets, and I told everybody that I was going to a very important concert. I was going to a Madonna concert with my friends because that's what we Gen Xers do, is we go to concerts from, by the artists who were popular when we were growing up. And so, but concerts and music has always been such a huge part of my life. I am a violinist, so I appreciate music. I worked for the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. I appreciate musicians, and I just love spending all my money on concerts, no matter how much the tickets are. I mean, like those are experiences that some artists are just, you just can't, you can justify it, and I can justify it, and I try to justify it as much as I can because I just enjoy concerts and music and all of that. So thanks for playing along with us, especially Aaron for trying to trip me up there. Okay, we're kind of winding down today's show, going through a couple of Wisconsin specific topics. We spent the whole day not talking about politics. I feel okay. I feel okay about that. Thanks again for everyone texting. On the talk and text line. But this issue caught my attention. It was about hunting in Wisconsin. And while I'm not a hunter, I do appreciate hunters and the fact that hunting is a very important part of our culture. It's also a very important part of our economy and of our heritage and of our state of Wisconsin budget. So according to a memo from last week, Wisconsin's wildlife management account will start the next 2-year budget period nearly $16 million in the red, thanks largely to dwindling hunting license sales, putting projects from fish stocking to habitat restoration in doubt, State Department of Natural Resources officials said on Wednesday. The department places money from the sale of hunting and fishing licenses, along with revenue from timber sales and tribal gaming payments, into what's known as the Fish and Wildlife account. The department uses the money for a host of fish and wildlife management programs, including stocking game fish, restoring habitats, wardens, monitoring chronic wasting disease, and paying farmers wolf depredation claims. But a combination of fewer licenses sold at relatively low prices and rising inflation has hurt the account, department budget analysts told the agency. So in a nutshell, we've got dwindling license sales, and hunting is down. This is not a Wisconsin specific issue. This is a nationwide trend. Hunters tend to be older. They tend to be more in rural areas, and we see a lot of things changing in demographics. We see things changing in the economy. We see things changing with how people think about hunting in terms of animals. When in fact, when you ask a lot of hunters, they say that hunting is an appreciation of animals. And while I'm not a hunter, I actually have one member of my family. My sister-in-law is actually the hunter in the family, and this is a real. It's not just a hobby; it's a lifestyle. It's a commitment from a lot of people. It's not just about going up north and sitting in the tree stand. This is hunters are very important to our economy, and especially in an economy like Wisconsin. So to give you some numbers, license sales have dwindled for years. As I said, hunters aging out of the sport and fewer young people developing an interest in this hunting. Sales of gun deer licenses have dropped 4% since 2018 from 577,576 licenses to 553,479 licenses this year. The story also goes on to say licenses are relatively cheap for state residents. This is really inexpensive. A gun deer license has a cost of $24, and a fishing license has cost $20, and that price hasn't gone up over time. So the department has expectations generating around $62 million in the account, but they're falling short. Year over year, you're seeing just fewer and fewer people who are hunting. And, this is going to be a problem, especially for preservation initiatives. One of the things that my sister-in-law is very involved with is the youth council through the state DNR. And my son has been able to participate in a number of events. They go and observe wildlife and animals throughout the state. They go ice fishing, although they weren't able to go ice fishing this year because, as has been well documented, we haven't had the deep freeze that we thought we would. And so, this is probably playing into the fact that we're running into these budget shortfalls as well. But being able to keep youth interested in these types of activities and the heritage and the culture and the importance for our tourism. I mean, it's also been well documented that tourism in the northern part of Wisconsin has been suffering as a result not only of fewer hunters, but as a result of the fact that there isn't enough snow. No snowmobiling. You've got restaurants and hotels and lodges that depend on this winter season to keep them alive and keep them thriving. So really, I mean, interesting to think about the impact that this has on our economy overall, that hunting licenses are down, and we're going to be looking at this shortfall. Now, I looked at these numbers, though, and it does seem like there might be opportunity to increase the cost, right? I mean, anytime you have fewer numbers, maybe you increase the cost. Is there another way to augment this department? Because you're not going to stop, hosting fish and wildlife management programs. I mean, you're not going to stop doing a lot of these things. I mean, wardens in Wisconsin are very important, not just for hunting, but for our parks and natural resources. And so, this will be an interesting dilemma. And I don't think that it's going to be turning the tide anytime soon. So interesting way to end the show on a couple of Wisconsin-related topics. All right. When we return, we are going to end the show. And I kind of end this every day with a little something. I call it something to talk about. It's a little thing that catches my attention and I think would be even better if we talked about it or to share it with you so you can discuss it further. All right, it's 2:53 on WTMJ.
Start planning for your retirement today so you enjoy retirement tomorrow. Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday mornings at 7, where Tony Drake and his Education First team discuss retirement trends, taxes, inflation, and Social Security benefits to help you achieve a more secure financial future.
Join us this week as we talk about the presidential election season this year and what impact that might have on your retirement.
Retirement Ready with Tony Drake on WTMJ.
Hi folks, this is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With the weather getting colder, our prices get even hotter. And at our showroom, you'll see all the top brands of lighting and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Monte Carlo, and more. Our new in-store visual technology will allow you to find every light and fan from every major brand, including their price and description. And our prices are always the lowest, I guarantee it. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for Dad and the kids, and our famous free popcorn. BBC is open Monday through Saturday and is located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Looking for some winter magic? Head to Lake Geneva for the 29th Annual Winterfest and U.S. National Snow Sculpting Championship. Watch and wonder as 15 of the best snow sculpting teams in the country create larger-than-life masterpieces right before your very eyes. Enjoy bonfires and s'mores on the beach and live entertainment. Explore the downtown ice sculpture walk featuring over 40 beautiful